This is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 16 and verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. First and foremost, we give all praises, honor, and infinite glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, HaKodash. Double honors into the elder apostles, elder bishops, and head elders of all the camps of Great Millstone GMS who do rule well. Salutations, peace, and blessings to the hopeful elect, the house of David, scattered abroad. This is your brother Tasapanya of the Great Millstone, Washington, D.C. camp. I don't want to rock the Zah, Lord willing. This spiritual commentary, digital epistle, is edifying to the elect. So I started out with 2nd Esdras 16 and verse 21, talking about how people is going to think themselves in good case because they're able to afford their regular provisions and their food. That is slowly but surely slipping away. However, life is still in its regular cycle. All right. And that good case, that peace and safety has been, attitude has been increased because Nero has gotten in office. Now, this is Canadian Prepper. He's going to talk about how tomorrow the tariffs come in. And if he does push it, then we're on the beginning stages of hyperinflation, setting up the stage to devalue the already dead fiat U.S. Federal Reserve note, all right, and inflate the bubble of which would be an orchestrated collapse when they pop it themselves to switch over into the new system. So without further ado, we are going to play this, get some precepts, closing on out.
This is your World War III update. So I'm in part of the Canadian Prepper.com warehouse today, and appropriately so because the price of everything is about to skyrocket. Okay, 25% tariffs across the board comes into effect tonight at midnight. If Trump is true to his word, which I'm not entirely sure he is, but his press secretary today said that indeed these tariffs will be imposed by February 1st at midnight, I presume. Now, there was some rumblings earlier that maybe it was going to be postponed to March 1st, but the White House denied that. So it looks as though it's about to go down. And what this means is that we are entering deep and dark recessionary times. Understand what's about to happen. This day, this month, this year will go down in history as officially delineating the transition from a unipolar world to a multipolar one. This is it. Shots are being fired in all directions, not just Canada and Mexico and Panama and Greenland, but they're going after the semiconductor manufacturing facilities in Taiwan as well. 100% tariffs on chips in some sort of attempt, I guess, to encourage TSMC to onshore their chip manufacturing into the United States. But what it might actually do is potentially compel them to move towards China. But who really knows at this point? Regardless, what you need to understand as Canadians is that life is going to suck. I'm going to try to break down what exactly is about to happen, okay? So Trudeau is loving this. The Liberal government is going to love being able to execute whatever sort of emergency powers that they can conjure and dangle the carrot of some sort of monthly stipend that they're going to pay out to everybody who loses their jobs as a result of these tariffs.
So I want to extract that point that he just made, using Trudeau as a figurehead for liberal thinking, which is part of the two-party system. Even though he's talking about Canada, the Western world pretty much copies the same thing that America does, which is a copy of the ancient Roman Empire. You had the plebeians and the patricians. Now you have the Republicans and Democrats, also known as conservative Republican right-wing thought, compared to Democrat liberal, left-wing thought. Okay, and they play these sides, this left-right paradigm. All right, going back to some real Masonic type of concepts. All right, when this is all Hegelian dialectic to bring about the outcome. So problem, reaction, solution. Okay, so notice how he said that people are going to lose jobs because of the tariffs, and then they're going to push their agenda, something that they already wanted to do, which he didn't say, but he's talking about UBI, Universal Basic Income, a monthly stipend of free money. Okay, and by now, people should know Richard Werner, the German, the Teemanite economist, I think that worked for the Bank of London, the central bank, for a minute. He said that UBI will be the bait for the microchip, and that the Bank of London already has that technology prepared for the people for when that time comes, showing you that some sort of black swan event has to happen so that they can push upon the people what they already have planned for them, which is prophesied in the scriptures, Revelation 13, verse 16 on down, the mark of the beast.
Understand how this works, because I read an article today that said 47% of people don't know what a tariff is. So when Trump says, I'm imposing tariffs on Canada, that means that Americans are going to pay 25% more for Canadian goods and services, which will disincentivize them from doing so unless they have no other choice, I suppose, and they have to do so anyways, and then passing that on to U.S. consumers. So this could still work out in a myriad of ways. But the thinking is that that's going to reduce imports from Canada. It is going to spur on industry in the United States, which apparently they believe that they can manifest pulp and paper mills very quickly down there, perhaps overlooking the fact that it takes a lot of years to get these things online. I probably would have expected some transitionary period, maybe 5%, 10%, but no, right to 25%. Maybe they're going to be relying on the entrepreneurial prowess of Elon Musk to build out this industrial infrastructure that they're going to need to make up for the shortfall imposed by these 25% tariffs. But the 10% on oil is significant because, well, it may discourage oil refineries in the United States who do rely on Canadian oil. Some of these facilities only use Canadian oil. The U.S. gets about 20% of its oil from Canada. And yeah, a lot of that is exported as well, but a lot of it is refined in the United States. So this means that the price of oil is about to go up. So the price of things is going to be immediately felt in the United States. And then not too long after that, a lot of people in Canada are going to lose their jobs. They're saying that between 500,000 to 1.5 million, I think, people, that might be a little high, but could potentially be out of work as a result of this. Now, there's only 40 million people in Canada. I presume maybe 20 million are elderly, infirm, children, people who aren't in the workforce. So that's a very big chunk of our working population, and that is going to be a socioeconomic nightmare for a lot of people. Okay, the shit is going to be hitting the fan.
So as you can see, these tariffs, man, they're going to be affecting not only Americans but the whole world, because of the fact that Babylon is still the the major superpower, holds on to the world reserve currency, so on and so forth. All right, but we're coming into a time of perplexity. When you go into the book of Luke and how it talks about the sea of the waves of the sea roaring, and with perplexity, roughly paraphrasing. All right. You go into the Greek word for perplexity, it means a lack of resources. So we're coming into a time where lack of resources is going to be astronomical. And I'm probably going to look up that precept now.
But in a slow grind, less exciting way than is depicted in Hollywood. But this is absolutely going to be leveraged by the Trudeau government, if you can call it that at this point in time, as the lame duck as he is. Or who knows? Maybe he'll pipe up once again once he gets to invoke these emergency powers that will enable him to debase our currency and print more money to dangle a carrot in front of people who are going to be very desperate, and they're going to be scared to vote for the Conservatives, who might take away that monthly payout. Now, I hope that Canadians are smart enough not to fall for it, but I suspect that that's what's going to happen here. Okay, I suspect that he wants this to happen. I know that's hard to believe, but I do suspect that they're potentially, that scheming part of their brain, which might be fairly significant with that crowd, is thinking to themselves, this could be a way to win back voters. Don't vote for Pierre because he could potentially take away your monthly stipend that we will provide you in order to help you get through these tough times, which of course is what some people is saying is a segue into some form of universal basic income that they might be bringing in down the road. But
see, there you go. Now he's bringing it out. So if you have the spiritual eye salve, right, you're able to see. Remember in Proverbs it says that the prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. Evil is a compound word, even ill. Eve, time, ill, bad. And the evil, the bad times that's coming, is that global mandate of the charagma, all right, punishable by death. And there's going to be stages and gradualism until we get to that point, but they're going to happen very quickly, as you can see right now. All right. So people is being pushed like cattle from one paradigm to another, all right, with this two-party system spoken of in Revelation chapter 13, all right, in verse 11, if I'm not mistaken, all right. But that lamb with two horns is going to now speak as a dragon, as it's speaking as a dragon right now. So when you when you go and get Luke chapter, what is that, 21 and 25, this is in the red letter, Yahushua speaking. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. All right, and a lot of that's been going on. And upon the earth, distress of nations. That's going on right now. With perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Okay, so when you look up that word perplexity, it's G640 aporea, from the same as 639, a state of quandary. Perplexity 639, all right, is, it says, to have no way out. An example, be at a loss. Also mentally, stand in doubt, be perplexed. All right. So there's gonna be a having no way out because people, and there's uproars of the people. It talks about that in Second Esdras. All right. And when when you see the uproars of the people, this is when the prophet prophesied, Ezra, all right, that this is the very same time where the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So we're coming into the advent of our Lord and Savior Yahushua, and of course certain prophecies have to come to pass, but it's happening swiftly.
But there are $3.6 billion in goods that transit the Canadian and American border bidirectionally, and this trade could potentially be brought to a halt. We get all kinds of food products from the United States, which likely, if the Canadian government does in fact impose countermeasures and counter tariffs, we're going to be paying a lot more for that stuff. Okay. But even if we don't, it's one of those rising tides raise all ships type situation, only in a bad way. If the Americans start having to pay for more for stuff, that's going to make its way to us some way, somehow. So it appears as though it's happening, guys. It's going to start tonight, and it's not going to be good. 80% of Canada's oil and 60% of our natural gas go down to the United States. We have a massive oil industry in Alberta. And Trump made that exception because he knows that we already give it to him at a discount. So that 10% that their refineries are going to have to pay in addition to the discounted price that they already pay is going to basically make it so that they're getting the oil at spot, I presume, for the most part. So it's still going to be economically viable for them to import Canadian oil. Because understand, in the broader geopolitical picture, they still got a war with Iran that they want to fight. And they know that they can't disrupt the flow of oil, but there's got to be all this tough talk and bluster. And don't believe for a second that this has anything to do with border security. There's a NAFTA agreement between the United States and Canada, which states that you can't impose tariffs, okay, in either direction unless it's a national security issue. So they make up this bullshit issue about the border, how fentanyl's coming over. When did the elites ever care about people dying in the streets on fentanyl? They simply don't. This is just the excuse, the Trojan horse, if you will, in order to basically impose tariffs for the purpose of a trade deficit, okay? Now, I think that they're trying to shore things up, and it feels as though they're trying to batten down the hatches because they know the big one is coming. The big war is coming. All this stuff with Greenland, which is for the purpose of dealing with Russia, the Panama Canal, which for the purpose of dealing with China, the Taiwan chip manufacturing company tariffs, where they're going to be about 100% for the purpose of dealing with China. Everything, the missile shield, all of that stuff, it's getting us ready for war. The repatriation of gold, which is at levels never before seen in New York in 33 Liberty Street in the Federal Reserve Bank, where they're bringing back gold from London, which is held in the London Reserve Bank there at record levels, okay? And it's creating all sorts of chaos in the COMEX market. We have another all-time high for gold today in Canadian dollars. Once again, the dollar showed some strength proportionate to the Canadian dollar today. So in American dollars, I believe we finished out the week at a record high, but in Canadian dollars, it's actually an all-time record high in terms of the price of gold. So this is what's going down. We are now entering a brave new world where everything is going to change, and for the worse. And I think they can only do it with somebody who has the backing of an ideologically motivated base like MAGA, okay? Because you couldn't do something like that. They know they had to make this transition. The 36 trillion and all that, it has to crash, okay? So I think they're going to do it now. I've always said they're going to crash it on Trump's watch because he has the ideological base to be receptive to that age-old, how they say, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. We're not in a position to be receptive to that message anymore, except MAGA might. They may be willing to endure some hardship for the sake of reindustrializing the Americas. But of course, what this means is essentially it amounts to a global form of communism because tariffs, I believe, are very communistic. They're antithetical.
So look what he just said there, a global form of what is communism? Where you take from people that have more and give it to the less. But that means that the people that are on top that is doing the taking is the ones in control of everything. This is the whole understanding of the one world government, the new world order. This is the whole understanding of what is it in Malachi chapter 1 that we are impoverished, but what is it? Let me go get it real quick. This is Esau's understanding. This is his thought process, and it's very easy to understand how Esau is going to move based on knowing how the Most High is going to move. So you gotta first seek ye out the book of the Lord and read, right, and see how the Most High Yahweh, how he does things. All right, on the left hand side, on the right hand side. By doing that, you're able to know how Esau is going to move because he wants to be like the Most High. This is Malachi 1:4. It says, "Whereas Edom saith," so Edom is the nation of the Edomites, which are modern day so-called Caucasian white people. All right. This is what they're saying right now. Okay, we are impoverished, so they're saying that they're poor. All right, even though they rule the world and have all this money, they're saying it's not enough. And how do I prove that? By going to Habakkuk, where it says that, no, in Obadiah, where it says that even if the thieves, you know, would, what is it, grape gatherers, they would at least leave some grapes. Because in Habakkuk chapter 2, oh yeah, that I was trying to get chapter 2, Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. You see? So if you can't be satisfied, you're always going to be in an impoverished state. Make sense? Right. And then in Obadiah, it says 1 and 5, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they have enough? You see? So even though they get income tax, they get state tax, they get federal tax, they get tax on everything. All right. It's still not enough for these devils. The international banking families. You're born in debt, hundred and some $30,000 in debt. That's still not enough. All right. It says, if the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? So the point being is that in Malachi 1 and 4, it says, but we will return and build the desolate places. So they think that they're in a desolate, like, their experiment America is in a desolate state, even though they made it that way, so that they can do what? Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. What are they trying to build? See, and it said that they shall build. So the Lord is allowing them to build. What are they trying to build? The Roman Empire in a newly fashion. Hence, the image of the beast. Okay, and the beast now is NATO and EU. Okay, it says, and they shall, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath ended the nation forever. Right. So who's that they, man? All right, it's the people, the heathen. When you go to Isaiah 14, it says the kings of the earth, when Lucifer fell down, talking about the international banking families, have you become like us? You know what I'm saying? That it's made all the nations tremble. So they're gonna be like, oh, these are the wicked. And see, because how are the hidden things of Esau searched out? That's the point. All right. So they're going to, that wicked is being revealed through their action, through the prophets. Okay. So I'm gonna end off with Revelation 11 and verse 14, and it reads, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So that third woe is how the Lord is going to throw down what they tried to build. They think that this war thing is going to help them out. Little do they know it's going to be their own downfall, because that's when the missiles is going to fly and destroy Babylon for good. So with that, I'm going to say Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. On to the next one. Shalom.